identifying what we need to do. So that is something which I feel is more challenging. What is the goal we should decide for coming 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and how to achieve on those. That is, I feel that is the most important thing, how to uh, identify the correct user journey for each initiative so that it doesn't hamper any other, or it doesn't cannibalize any other feature within our app also.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another podcast. I'm the host for the day, Rituparna Bhaumik, and today we have with us Mr. Jayant Jain, a product manager at Flipkart and also an alumni of IIM Ahmedabad and IIT Guwahati. So let's hear from the man himself. So, hello, sir, how are you?
Hey Ritu. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. How's going for you?
Yeah, same for me, sir. So, sir, before we begin, can we have a small introduction about you?
Yeah, sure. So, my name is Jayant. Uh, I have been born and brought up in Jaipur, Rajasthan. I did bachelor's in design from IIT Guwahati. I graduated in 2017. Then I worked for 2 years as a UX designer with D shop, and then I moved on to do an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad for 2 years. And since last 1 year, I'm working as a product manager with Flipkart. I work with a Flipkart wholesale team. So we basically cater to the kirana stores, and we are targeting mainly the grocery kirana stores.
Okay, okay, right. Great. So, sir, how is your day-to-day as a product manager at Flipkart?
So it depends on the project I'm working on. The projects which are in very initial stage, my day goes in conceptualizing those, interacting with the business and category and the marketing counterparts on how to go about them, creating a strategy around how to achieve the goals which we have. The projects which are in execution phase, uh, for those my day goes like what I do is I work with the developers and designers to to create the whole flow of the user journey. And in case developers are blocking on few things, then how can I unblock them so that they can work smoothly. uh, Apart from that, a few things, a few aspects of project management also comes into play when you are working on a project which is currently in an execution phase. Lastly, if I work on a project uh, which is either recently launched or going to be launched, either I work on testing those things and reporting the bugs to the developers, and also working with the design team to review the developed features of the products to see that is the final thing in line with what we expected. And once the feature is developed, we work with the analytics team to get. Firstly, we create a analytics view on what type of metrics we want to track, and then we work with the analytics team to see how can we get those data. And once we have the data on a periodic manner, uh, we try to understand how the progress is going. If it is going good, then it is good for us. If it is not going as per our expectation, we try to find the root cause of why it is not happening, and then the whole cycle of creating product strategy starts from the beginning.
Okay, okay, great. As you had said earlier, that you had worked in the designing field, right? So, has it given you some advantage when you had entered this product management role?
Yeah, I think I had a few. It was a bit easier for me for some aspects because as a designer, I used to interact with PMs a lot earlier and developers a lot earlier. So I knew as a designer what type of questions I had. So while I was interacting as a PM to designers, I it was easier to me to understand their point of view also. Secondly, as I told, as a designer, I used to interact with developers a lot. As a PM, that interaction, the scope of that interaction even increases a lot. So uh, again, it was comparatively smoother for me to interact with the developers, working with their terminologies and these things. And the most important thing was about user empathy. So as a UX designer, you are the face of the, or a representation of the user's values for the firm. So for a product manager, that is one of the important things to have, to understand what are the pain points of the user and how we can solve them. So these were some 2 or 3 points which I believe helped me from my past UX experience to transition into a PM product manager.
Right. So, so there must be some obstacles, right, which you must have faced during your role into the product manager or during your role into the designer thing. So, can you share some of those?
Okay, so the main obstacle which I faced was regarding stakeholder management. So, as a designer, I used to interact with mostly PMs and developers. Now, when you move to a product manager role, the the stakeholders you need to interact with increase exponentially. Now, as a product manager, I interact with the marketing team, category team, business team. Even I interact with the legal team for some of my projects, and sales team also. So keeping them, whenever you are releasing a feature, you need to keep all of them aligned, so that or you need to take a kind of a green signal from all these people, so that it doesn't happen that you are halfway through and some teams come back and says ki, it should not be this way, we won't adopt the feature and those things. So, one of the major obstacle which I felt was regarding stakeholder management, where you need to keep all the people aligned. You need to keep all the people in the same, on the same page. Many times these people had conflicting goals also. For example, sales team's goal is to increase the revenue, and category team's goal is to increase the profit. Now, I was working in a project where these there were conflicting goals. The sales team was saying we are okay if there is higher cost, but we need to increase the revenue. Say, category teams were saying that uh, we can't incur this much cost, basically. So we need to bring them on the same page, come at a common ground, somewhere in the middle ground, and then create a product strategy which keeps all the stakeholders aligned, keeping in mind that the customer experience is better.
Right. Right.
And apart from that, any other obstacle I would say is yeah. So one thing, there was one more obstacle, but I guess MBA helped a bit in this. So as a UX designer, how it used to work is, we either a PM or someone in the hierarchy used to give us the goals. Okay, these are the goals which needs to be achieved, let's say this year. Now as a PM, you are the one who needs to define the goals for your area.
Yeah.
So this goal definition and initiative identification was the thing which I was doing for the first time. But fortunately, I guess due to MBA, or either so at Flipkart, my colleagues are very awesome, to be frank. So either due to their help, or it was a bit simpler for me.
Okay. Right. Great, sir. So, what do you see as a product manager's main role within this product development thing?
Okay. So the main role I would say is to define the correct product strategy, what you should do and what you should not do. Okay. So first of all, we need to define the goals along with the business team. Once we have the goals in mind, we need to define what are the correct initiatives which will achieve these goals, and then prioritize those initiatives on key. This is the top initiative. After that, we'll focus on this initiative. Those type of roadmap building you need to do. Okay. Once the initiatives are also defined, you need to drill down and create with all the stakeholders in the room, you need to create a proper user journey that nothing is missed, uh, and you have the complete end-to-end flow there. Okay? Now, after that, I would say this during this process, you also need to keep in mind that user empathy is on the topmost priority. You need to understand the user's pain point, and then only you need to work. It should not happen that you are doing something which makes it easier for the business teams to work, but it makes it difficult for the users to use. Okay? So that should also not happen. So you need to balance all these things, and then you need to share your requirements with the design and the development teams. After, so I would say as a product manager, your most important role is before the development starts, where you're defining key you're defining what are the exact things we need to do, and what are the exact things which we don't need to do, or we should not do, or we should do maybe after 6 months.
Okay. Okay, right. So, during all this time, how is it possible to stay user focused all the time? Because there are again different teams, right? And you as a product manager have to
Sorry,
negotiate, right?
Ritu, your voice got cut in between. Can you repeat the last line?
Yeah, so I'm saying that is it possible during all this time to be so user focused because you have to negotiate with other teams, right? So is that possible every time?
Yeah, so focusing on the user is almost a top priority, because whenever you are interacting with the with different teams, see, every team's own will have their own goal. Like for example, as I said, sales team goal is to increase the revenue. If you're not user focused and you build something, anyways user will not use that feature. Okay? So you will not be able to achieve that goal. So while you are interacting with these teams, you need to align them properly such that user empathy is not something which gets hit. Okay? So many times it happens ki so it is always a brainstorming session. Okay? They also shoot some ideas, we also shoot some ideas, and then we give feedback to each other's ideas. So many times it happens that uh, they come up with some ideas, or I come up with some ideas, where many times sales team are much closer to user. As I told you, we work with the kirana stores, right? So sales team are much closer to users many times than we are. So they tell us ki users don't work this way, users work this way. Okay? Many times it happens that we have frequent interactions with users on a on a monthly level, and we tell that we code the users pain points while we interact with the sales category and business teams. So user empathy is always a topmost priority, even for those teams, not only for us. Because to achieve their goals, also they know that we are building something, then it needs to be adopted by the user. If it is not getting adopted by the user, then there is no point of building the thing, because even their goals will not be achieved.
Right. Okay. So, what is your approach to prioritizing these tasks when it comes to your role as a product manager at Flipkart?
Okay. So, first of all, we need to define the goal. Let's say, let's say I work with the post order charter of Flipkart Wholesale. One of our goals was to increase the incidents per order. Incident is any unique query which customer gives us while by calling us. Okay. So now to achieve this goal, what are the initiatives which we can pick up? Okay. Now, once we list down the initiatives, we should do some type of estimation on key doing this initiative, this much of the IPO will be reduced. Okay.
Okay.
Now, one thing is we stack rank what is the most important, which initiative will have the highest impact on IPO reduction. Okay. After that, that is the first level of prioritization which we do. After that, we see that are some of these initiatives such that which are rock, which are pebbles. Rock is something which will require a large amount of effort. Pebbles is something which will require small amount of effort. Okay, from the development and design side. Now we create two separate trackers for this. We put rock items in one place, we put pebbles item in one place. We in the rock items we go with the same hierarchy with the developers. First we will solve this, then we will solve this, then we will solve this. Sometimes it happens that the development teams are different. Okay? So in that case, we create two projects with the same hierarchy also, same prioritization also. My bad. Okay? Now regarding the pebble items, we try to see if in one of the sprints we have some space where any of these pebble items with a good impact can be fitted. So if developers see, mainly for this we interact with the engineering manager. If the engineering manager sees that we have space in the we have space in our sprint where developer can pick up this particular pebble item, then we try to fit the pebble items there. So we mainly focus on the rock items, and then we put the pebble items where, and we try to fill them with between the sprints itself. And if there are some items where we see that the impact is very good, or the impact is, let's say, a bit moderate, but it can be solved by changing some processes or doing some very minor changes in the features itself, then we pick it up sooner also.
Okay. Okay, right. So, sir, like, what is your role? Do you have a team of people? You must be having a team of people, right? Like,
No, so how it happens is design team has their own hierarchy, engineering team has their own hierarchy, product team has their own hierarchy. So I am a PM. I directly report to director of products. Okay. Similarly, I have a counterpart of engineering manager and a design manager. Now, whenever I define that we need to do this thing, I interact with those engineering managers and design managers, and then they allocate some engineers and designers from their team to work on this project. That's how it happens.
okay. So, what is your role in the team? Like, the how do you work with them? Like with all these other elements, other teams? Like
Yeah,
coordination
so
is a.
there is a big challenge here. Yeah, there's a bit challenge here because uh, the people you are working with are not reporting to you. Basically, they are reporting to someone else, and you need to align them to do this particular thing, right?
Okay.
So for that, one of the important thing is to create a rapport with these people. Okay? You need to interact with them very frequently. You need to create some kind of relationship with them, so that when you reach out to them, it is not a cold discussion with them that okay, we'll do this. It is more of a to and fro discussion. And so I'll tell you one thing. When I joined, my manager gave me a list of people. Do one thing in first 2 weeks, you don't need to do any work. Just schedule 30 minutes one to one with these. So list of 20 to 25 people, and uh, you need to build relationship with them. That was my first 2 weeks task. So matlab, it is very important that you create a rapport with them, so that they also know ki, what type of for what things you will be the POC for them, and for what things I will be going to reach out to them on a frequent basis. Apart from that, it is very important to have a very good relationship with the engineering manager and the design manager you are working with, because whenever you will be discussing any new functionality with them, uh, you again, it should be something ki they are also very free to discuss these things with them. It should not be that you tell them ki we need to do this. Okay? It should be that we are planning to do this. This is how we are approaching it. And in case you have any feedback, we will let us know. We will try. We will see if we can incorporate it, and will it fall uh, in line with the goals which we are working for. Many times it happens that we create some product strategy, and later on engineering managers comes up. "Hey, we have this feature. Uh, why can't we do some addition or build an add-on on this feature so that it solves this problem also?" And then we realize, yeah, this is also a good solution. So it is very important to create rapport with them and have a relationship with them. And so it will always be there that you won't be working with your direct reportees on any project. You will be working with people who report to someone else, but the goal should be the same, so it becomes easy.
Okay, right. So among all these things, what is the most exciting part of your role, which you really enjoy doing?
Yeah, I really enjoy doing this, creating a product strategy.
Okay.
So uh, there is one thing where you are told ki we need to do this. Okay? The other thing is identifying what we need to do. So that is something which I feel is more challenging. Ki what is the goal we should decide for coming 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and how to achieve on those. That is, I feel that that is the most important thing, how to uh, identify the correct user journey for each initiative, so that it doesn't hamper any other, or it doesn't cannibalize any other feature within our app also. Or as you know that Flipkart is an ecosystem, so we have ClearTrip, we have Flipkart Wholesale, we have Shopsy, we have Too Good. There are so many apps, so we don't build something which cannibalizes any other app of ours.
Okay.
So all these things need to be kept in mind. So creating a product strategy is something which I find is very challenging. I haven't done it previously in my previous roles,
Okay.
uh, but it's very challenging, but it's very interesting also. If it gets executed and you see how the things are moving, then it really shows what impact you have bring on the table. If it fails, then also there is a learning which you have done, and you know that we should not do these XYZ things in future.
Right. Right. So actually, there are people, right, who are not with technical background or haven't done their B.Techs and stuff. So is it possible for them to come into this role, or
Yeah,
is
yeah,
it
definitely.
challenging? Okay.
So even I am someone who is not from a tech background. I am
Mm.
also from a design background. uh, Now, when I was trying to switch, at that time it was a bit difficult because people used to uh, correlate PM role with the technology role. So many times people don't understand the difference between a product manager and an engineering manager. So that was a challenge at that time. But now, after 2 3 years, I've seen that the PM culture has grown a lot, especially with after the first phase of COVID. We
Mm.
have seen that a lot many product manager openings have come, a lot many uh, sessions on how to become a good product manager, and these type of a lot many product gurus have come up. We didn't have these 2 3 years back when I was trying to switch to this role.
Yeah.
So it is not that it is difficult. Uh, just that many times few firms have a bias that they will prefer either a someone who has either worked as a PM, at least as an APM earlier, or has worked as someone in the technology field, either a tech consultant or a designer maybe, or a developer. Okay? Sometimes as analytics also. But it is not a mandatory. I've seen startups who are hiring APM roles from the college, from the bachelor colleges, from non-tech fields also. And nowadays
Okay.
it has become very common. One more thing, if someone is feeling that I'm not comfortable with tech, I would recommend you to read these two books. They actually helped me a lot. One is Swipe to Unlock, and the other is Tech Simplified for PMs and entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So these two books are something which helped me a lot. Uh,
Mm.
and during the interviews also, if some very small amount of tech things are being asked, then
Mm.
these two books cover everything regarding this. Uh, and when you are working as a PM, you won't be requiring to know each and everything in the tech. It's not that you are going to code. You are
Right.
just a liaison with different teams. Okay?
Right.
And different developers, I would say, different team of developers. So many times, let's say in Flipkart, we don't have a lot of full stack developers. We have different UI developers, different backend developers. So you are lesson between them mostly. So you don't need to code anything. You just need to understand how the things are working, how the system flow is working. One more thing, uh, for the people who are working, who are not from tech background, they need to be cautious that they should go in a firm which has good PM culture, because many firms don't have. If they don't have a good PM culture, again, uh, they would expect that a PM would do some works that an engineering manager is also doing. That I've seen with some of my friends. Uh, that is an issue. So it is important to see that the firm which they are going has a good PM culture. And the second thing is, there is a specialist role which is called platform product manager.
Mm.
So generally, generalist project managers work on functional requirements.
Mm.
Okay? But platform product managers generally, not always, generally work on non-functional requirements. By non-functional requirements, I mean, let's say you are ordering something on Flipkart. Now
Mm.
you clicked on place order button. Now you see that the loading sign is going on for, let's say, 2 minutes. Then basically the speed of the calls or the speed of the backend is very low, though that is a non-functional requirement that the customer should be able to place an order within, let's say, 30 seconds after a click.
Okay.
Okay? So these platform PMs work very closely uh, with the system engineers, and they work closely with the system designing to see uh, how should the how should the load manager work, how should what should be stored in the cache, what should not be stored in the cache, and all these things, how many servers should be there in between. So it is a kind of a bit bit specialist role. In that case, having a tech background will be a plus.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Right. So yeah, thank you for these amazing tips. So, sir, one more thing, that what do you think are the skills required to be a good or a successful product manager?
Okay, so the first thing foremost is the having a good customer empathy. Second is good good in creating strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Third is stakeholder management. Even as a PM, most of your time will go in stakeholder management.
Okay.
And the last is having a good analytics skill. So how do you want to define a metric? Uh, what metrics you want to track on a higher level, on a drill down level? All these things do come into play after launching of a feature.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, one last question, that what will be your favorite productivity hack that you would like to share with the students who are aspiring for this role?
Productivity hack while working as a PM, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so one is having a good relationship with all the stakeholders you are working with.
Okay.
Second is always have a diary and a pen with you, because whenever you are meeting with someone, there will surely be something which will come up, and you should note it down somewhere.
Okay.
Uh, and always maintain a to-do list.
Okay. Right. Okay. Great. Great, sir. Thank you so much for sharing all the knowledge and insights. And it was lovely
One more
hosting.
thing, Ritu.
Yeah.
Sorry. One more
Yeah.
thing. As a product manager, sorry, I didn't cover this anywhere before in this call. Uh,
Okay.
it is very important to learn to say no. So, as
Right.
I said, saying no is actually one of the best productivity hack which we should have, because as I said, we need to be very cautious on uh, what features which we are prioritizing. So many times it comes that uh, business teams do come to us on the trends of last 2 week that this is a new type of issue which has come up. Now you need to take a call ki should we wait for some time to see that this issue persists or it is a temporary issue. If it is a temporary issue, then you need to say no to them. You need to say let's wait for 2 weeks and see if this issue persists, or what is the basically you need to identify the root cause and then see this is the root cause and it will go away in some time. Let's not put extra effort on this. Or many times it happens that you have already created a roadmap and there is a feature which is in lower priority, and generally business teams for business teams all the feature are in the same priority for a PM. For the whenever they you will be interacting with them on a weekly or a bi-weekly basis, they will ask you regarding all the features which I would be working on.
Okay.
So again, you need to say no that I haven't started working on this. We'll start working on this, let's say after XYZ date. So at that time, you need to create this clear picture so that you are also someone who is accountable for XYZ things, and your engineers you are working with are also not overloaded and they are not switching between the context all the time. And you are focusing on a goal which you guys had set previously, and just not jumping from one place to another.
Okay. Okay. Right. Right. With that being said, amazing tips, sir. And I'm very sure that the people who will be watching this podcast will be benefiting a lot. And again, thank you so much for giving your time on a Sunday morning and out of your busy schedule. And we really enjoyed it. And we definitely look forward to seeing again you in future. So, sir, do you have any last words for Grow Junction or for the people who will be watching this?
Yeah, actually, matlab, it's a very good platform. Actually, I went to the website also. You guys are growing. I guess you guys onboarding a lot of good people to
Right,
do
right.
courses, and even the type of courses you are covering has been very diverse. So a lot of people can actually look on those and uh, get, get the direction or the training which they seek.
Mm.
Apart from that, the instructors I saw their profiles on LinkedIn are also very good. So I felt that it was very genuine. And the other thing is key the content which you're trying to target is very latest up to just industry standards. So that is something which I really appreciated. And yeah, it's good actually. Matlab, the type of interaction which we had in last 30 minutes is also something which I felt was good. Matlab, I was just narrating my story, how
Yeah,
what experiences I had in my last 1 year. So
yeah,
yeah, it was good.
yeah.
Keep doing this. Matlab, it's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you on behalf of Grow Junction. It was lovely hosting you. Thank you.